What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Finbot's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Mastermind Creations Azalea. And I picked her up from TFCon, which I will recap as soon as possible. It's just a lot of footage I got to go through, so give me a little bit of time. That being said, she's cool. She's sturdy. Right out the box, she felt pretty good. I think scale is the thing that kind of eats this one up, but we're going to talk about that a little later. She's a nice plastic, which you'd expect from MMC. She has a fair amount of ball joints and stuff, which we'll get into, but they feel really good. Probably the best ball joints I've felt in some time. Accessory-wise, she comes with two of these swords, and they fold up. There's a lot of like daintiness and fragile kind of feel to this, but I've messed with it a good bit and I haven't had any sign of any problem. There's a metallic kind of paint to this sword handle here, and so she comes with two of those. And we'll just take those off because we're going to have to transform her soon anyway. And then she also comes with two pistols. They also, the handles manipulate so that they can plug in and so forth, and you know, you can even have it when they're plugged into her side here. You know, you can even put the handle up so it doesn't get as much in the way, which is nice. It's thoughtful. And then it hinges down, and it's that same metallic kind of pinkish purplish color. She comes with two of those, and she holds them fine. Her hands are kind of a pain for me. I don't know. I mean, the gun isn't so bad, but kind of getting the swords in, it's like one of those like put in and twist, and you know, it's not a big deal. It's just, you know, it's not optimal in my opinion, but at least that way you got the cool hand look, so maybe it's a fair trade-off. And she comes with this little bit here, which helps her stand significantly, and without it, it's much more difficult and much more challenging, but not impossible. Yeah, so articulation wise, head is on a ball joint. You don't get a whole lot. There's a nice metallic blue paint on the eyes. I wish they would have done the lips. I really wish they would have done the lips, but they didn't. We got two shades of pink here, and then a shade of silver, and then we got some silver paint down here. There is like an abdomen or diaphragm ball joint that gets you a little bit, and then a waist that swivels. Shoulders are on hinged, or actually they're on double ball joints, so it's a ball joint inside at the base of the body, and then a peg, and then another ball joint. But it still is kind of hindered. You're kind of only getting out to there because of these plastic pieces here, which kind of give it the look that's cool, but it does hinder the articulation. It's not a big deal for me. I'm just pointing it out for you. Double jointed elbows, getting you anything you could want there. And then the wrist does swivel, and it has these like gauntlet plates that swivel with it, so you have to be mindful. Not that it causes a problem, just to keep it all aesthetically pleasing. Hips are on ball joints. Thigh swivel, same thing. It's got these plates. And then a knee, double jointed. Ankle, tilt, and that's awesome. That's money. I should have known. It's Mastermind, right? Not a lot of paint, but a lot of different colors of plastic to help break it up. Typical Mastermind situation, it could have used some more paint. It's pretty much the pink on the face, the blue, the silver, the blue, or the orange. Everything else is just different color multipliers, which is still a smart way to kind of break the color up. I will give it to them. But, you know, it's just one of those things where their product is so good, it's like, you know, you could really take it over the edge with some attention to detail in the paint. But anyway, we are going to get her transformed, of course, but before we do, it does come with an extra one of these, and that is in case yours break off. They slide in here. Mine did anyway, so that's cool and thoughtful and kind of the quality and customer care I expect from Mastermind. Also, these things here hinge up, and then these are on hinged pegs, so that you can kind of manipulate them to get them out of the way or whatever. The neck piece, we're going to talk about it during transformation a little bit, but it plugs in here. I don't know. I mean, I know why they did it, of course, but it's just, mine has a hard time staying in. Okay, so let's get her transformed. Wish me luck, because it is not easy. I've done it a few times now, and I feel like every time it's a little different. So, we'll see. They say that you can do the whole thing with these wings in, but you may also remove them, which is what I recommend, because she is hard enough already. For anybody writing in the comments right now, I don't find her hard. I find her quite easy. You're cooler and better than me, dude. Congratulations. I find her pretty challenging, and I'm not really fond of the transformation. So let's back out a little bit. Here we go. Here goes nothing. So, arms up, twist the bicep swivel, which I'm not even sure I mentioned, and bring these puppies up and lock them in. The hands we're going to talk about in a minute, what kind of position to have them in. So, bicep swivel. Lock them in up here. Okay. Next is this bit. Now, the cool thing about this is that you can bring some of this stuff out and tuck this piece in and all that kind of stuff if you don't like the tail flap. I kind of think it looks a little jumbly anyway, so it almost looks better with the tail flap out of the way. But you can, tuck that in, I think, and I don't know. I'll look at it later. But from here, you need to twist this assembly, and it shows in the directions that the whole thing is just right there at that hinge. So, and then the head twists up. Now, there's a slot here, and that needs to go in there. And this is where it starts to get just the slightest bit redonkulous. So I pull these out of these hinges here, just gives you a little bit more room, and you can open her up, so to speak. And it's just a matter of finagling. You'll find that there's a lot of give in the chest piece. There's a lot of give in different places, and my advice is just do what you got to do to get this to work for you. Now, I'm not the most soft-handed individual in the world, so that makes it even a little bit more challenging for a guy like me. And there it is. And you can feel it when it goes. And that's pretty much it. We're going to leave these up so that we can get a grip on them, so to speak. But okay, the legs, which is a nightmare. The problem here is that we got ball joints and swivels and everything, so for everything to be perfectly lined up, it's really pretty challenging. Pardon me. So here's what I suggest. Swivel these. She's got to hold on to these pegs in here. Now, the directions have them, and reviewers have showed with the hands down. I've usually had more luck, but I'm going to try it. I've usually had more luck with them out to the side. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But oh, I'm sorry. There's a waist piece in here that you need to pull to get just a little bit of clearance. So bring these down as far as they'll go. And that's part of the problem. I've had things that there's not a lot of wiggle room. So you're trying to get her to hold that peg. Now it's easy to swivel the hand here like that and get it to go down and grab it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's easy, but even though that's the way the directions have it, I'm not sure if it's the way it's intended, and I'm going to tell you why. Alright. Because at this point, if you can get everything to lock in place, and you see the trouble I'm already having. If you fold the leg up, you can get this to tab in there, and you can't get that with her hand going straight up and down. And then these gauntlets here have to be with one peg up and one peg down, and they peg in like so. Actually, you got to fold down these flaps here first. And that's one. Alright. So, back to challenging. Open this up. Get yourself as much room as you can. If you can see me right now, I'm like, my tongue is out. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how real it is. Heat me up. Alright. Swivel that. And once again, it exposes that little peg that you can then bring all this down. And it actually locks in. And it will not lock in if you do it the way the instructions say to do it, or the way that like a lot of other people online have been saying to do it. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're right, you know, by the way of instructions. It just, there's a lot of things that are like, just don't feel right about this thing. Like they feel forced and like trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, kind of. And to me, that's one thing you can do to help with that. Jiminy Christmas. Oh, I broke one out. And that's why they give you an extra. There you go. I mean, it didn't break, it just came out, but all right. Now you're in a safe place here. So you take the wings that you had here, and it kind of covers up a lot of the ugliness up in the front. Just don't know. There you go. It's my baby upstairs. She's a handful. For those that met her at TFCon, you already know. Thank you to everybody at TFCon that didn't let her, you know, burn a place to the ground. It takes a village. It takes a village. Alright, so that's that. Now that does clean it up a good bit. Then you take your guns, fold down the pistol grips. And these come in. And they lock in there. And then lastly, you take your swords. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say lastly. But you take your swords and you fold them up. And they go on the side here. And then this piece goes underneath, and like so she can be off the ground, and that's pretty cool. But that's pretty cool, you know, that feature. But this thing is so small. I gotta get you some size comparisons. There's the animated, I think that's the animated Arcee mold right there, right? So it is a teeny tiny unit. I mean, a Sharkticon. It's huge, you know. So let's talk about it a little bit. It's cool. You know, it's very stylized and stuff, and it has a very sleek, like futuristic feel to it, and I kind of dig the overall aesthetic of it, honestly. It's just getting it here, you know? It's a pain. It's not fun. And real quick, here's underneath, and it doesn't do too terribly underneath. Once again, I folded the hands in a little differently. That's just my personal preference, and it seems like the way it's supposed to be, even though it's not the way it says to do it. Maybe it has to do with a future mode, and I'm just way off the reservation, but that's my opinion. Let me get her transformed, and we'll have some final thoughts and some comparisons. So there's Springer, and to me, she just seems a little small, but you know, it's not hateful at all. I mean, I look at my eye gear one, and my eye gear one is about the same size, so you know, I had her standing there, so why can't I have her standing there? You know, I think it's just because of the small frame. It makes her look a little out of place. It gets really carried away when you throw in G-axis. Because, see, to me, like, you know, people are going to say all day, like, you know, she's for your classics, you know, she's for your classic scale, but that does not feel right. Like, it's kind of in this weird scale that's, like, somewhere between Deluxe and Voyager, maybe like a full old school Deluxe or something. I don't know. It's just bizarre. It's throwing me for a loop. Something about the size is throwing me for a loop. I wish they would have made her just a tad bit bigger. But if was a spliff, right? That's what they say. So yeah, she kind of has a I don't know. There's something off to me, like scale wise. I don't know. I can't place it. It kind of only works with Voyagers, I guess. And it's still a little small for Voyagers, I feel like, but it kind of only works for Voyagers. Like, it doesn't quite work for Masterpiece, doesn't quite work for your Classics Deluxe, regardless of what any of you may say. I don't know. Final thoughts? I'm not sure. Here's the thing. She's a really cool action figure. She's a really, really cool action figure, but she's kind of a shit transformer. And I mean that kind of endearingly. I love Mastermind Creations. I love what they do. The product is good in the terms of quality of materials, and nothing really breaks. And the stuff they were worried about, they gave you extra. That's kind of what we expect from them. It's just, it seems nimbly. It can't get out of its own way. It's too busy in the wrong kind of places. It's not fun. It's fun to pose her and stuff, just like an action figure would be. But to transform her, the vehicle mode is not worth it. It's like not worth the effort. It's not worth the nightmare. It's not worth the frustration. My advice is when you go to Transformer and start learning her, have a lot of patience, be in a good mood, and don't have any sort of caffeine kind of going through you, because you need to kind of really be focused. That being said, our robot mode is beautiful. It looks great. It's superposable. It's a lot of fun to mess with. It feels very IDW. It's kind of what you want from an IDW Arcee in the terms of the robot mode. I mean, it does pretty much everything you want it to do. The problem is going anywhere beyond that. So it's complicated. It's $60. That's kind of the golden ticket on it. Like it's affordable. In terms of third-party product. It's just, I think coming right off of the Feral Cons, I was a little bit disappointed. $60 and you got time to spare and want to mess with her, go ahead. I wouldn't spend all this money for that exclusive. I have the exclusive. We're going to look at it soon. But it's not worth anything near $100, this figure. It's, in my opinion, $60 is a good price for this figure. So that's kind of the golden ticket of it all. I'm conflicted on it. I'm really conflicted on it. Maybe it's so confusing because it's a woman. And one of the most confusing things to me about women is why they can't keep the top of a sink clean, even if they've only been there for like 5 minutes. You know what I love about vacations? Nice, clean bathroom. Mommy. Come on, son. But that's neither here nor there. That's a different discussion. $60. Worth it. $70, after shipping, still kind of worth it. $100, not worth it. $200 for that exclusive, not worth it. We'll talk about it. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Take care.